Good afternoon. This video is for 20th of May and it's going to be Wednesday. So I'm starting with the lesson video, which is on, just let me check the page number. We left it on page number 16 yesterday. So I'm going to be continuing from page number 16, where the parents they were fighting the storm clouds, and then they were talking about, I'm going to start with the explanation from a little of the previous lesson so that we can link it up. And mainly they were looking for a way to reach Australia so that they could settle over there and they could reach safely. Now they are stuck in the middle of the ocean. They are in the Indian Ocean, and I showed you the maps also that I had posted, that they are going from the west towards the east, and they are stuck in the storm in the Indian Ocean. The nearest they are to the island, which was the Isle of Amsterdam, it was actually quite far away, and the Isle of Amsterdam was also about hundreds of kilometers from their present location. So what happened out here was that their daughter had an injury on her head, and due to that injury on the upper side of her eye, that injury had swollen, and since her head had swollen, her eyes had also swollen because of the fluid which was collecting. Maybe there was a slight breakage of the brain, or there were abrasions inside, or there were some bruising, the blood had clotted, something like that. So I'm starting from the middle of the page, but our respite was short-lived. At 4 p.m., black clouds began building up behind us. Within the hour, the wind was back to 40 knots and the seas were getting higher. So they thought it couldn't get worse. That's what they had finished on. And they had eaten those crackers, and they had eaten corned beef. So they thought maybe things are going to settle, but it didn't happen. Their respite was short-lived. That means the time they got to relax was very less. The wind picked up speed, and it was the measurement of the wind which was blowing was 40 knots per hour. And the seas were getting higher, which means the waves which were climbing up and coming down, they were going higher from one point to another point to another point. So higher waves were thrashing against their craft. The weather continued to deteriorate throughout the night, and by dawn on January 5th, our situation was again desperate. So they were in really dire states. By the time it had reached January 5 or 5th, they were really in need of help. They had to touch down somewhere around on an island or a piece of land where they could anchor for some time for safety. It was really required. When I went in to comfort the children, Joe asked, "Daddy, are we going to die?" I tried to assure him that we could make it. So as a parent does always, no parent will tell a child that there is no hope. This is a phenomena which parents all over the world go through. It is something common. I remember long time back I was watching a program, and there was this lady director. She used to direct movies. So she had come over to give an interview, and she was talking about her children. She had a son and a daughter. The son was elder, the daughter was younger. So when the daughter was about 6-7 years old, they came to know that she had cancer, and it was blood cancer, and she didn't have too much hope surviving. So the parents, they had divorced, so the mother was looking after the children. So when the daughter, one day she complained that she had a pain in her leg. So they thought it was something regular, and it'll go away in a little while. Maybe she slept in the wrong way and it is paining. The ache never went back. So then they consulted doctors, and finally, after a lot of struggle, the diagnosis was that the child has bone cancer. So when the kid, she's quite young, 6-7 years old. So she asked her mother, she said, "Mama, what is it?" So she said, "It is just a little disease, everything will be okay." She says, "Fine." And her cancer was painful. And for the mother, it was very difficult because she felt the pain of her daughter. So sometimes the daughter used to tell her mother that, Mama, give me a hug. आप मुझे ज़ोर से पकड़ लो. So you also remember, that a mother's hug can take away all the hurt. When you are little, something happens to you and your mom comes and she just gives you a hug and you forget the pain. It happens a lot of times. So her daughter told her that, Mama, you hug me and my pain will go away. And the mother never had the heart to tell her that she will not recover. And in the heart of hearts, the mother had a hope that her daughter might recover. So no parent will tell a child that it is hopeless, that nothing can improve, or that you're going to die. It doesn't happen. So in the same manner, when his son asked him that, Daddy, are we going to die? So he says, no, we'll work through it. You trust your daddy, so I'll do something. And children always trust their parents. It is like a baby who is picked up by the parent and thrown up in the air and then caught. That baby is not frightened. He knows that I will not fall down because that parent is going to catch me. So parents for children are their backup plan, their plan B. I always tell my boys, whatever happens in the world, come back home, we will solve it. Never ever think that anything happening cannot be solved or we can't work it through. So don't worry. Just come back home, we will sit and we will find a solution. And even if there is no solution, we'll still be together. So I am your backup plan. I tell my boys that I am your backup plan and you are my backup plan. My kids have grown up, so they are also my backup plan and I can afford to have them as my backup plan. So it is always so with parents and children, they both come together and they look after each other. So here he says that I tried to reassure him that we could make it. But Daddy, he went on, we aren't afraid of dying if we can all be together. You and Mummy, Sue and I. Now this is the crux of the story. This is where the child brings everything together why you are doing this story. Because families, when they stay together, they can overcome any problem. And here the child says that I'm not frightened of death. Even if I die, even if we die, we'll be together. And for me, that is more important. That is the most important thing. So I'm not frightened of death. It is such a beautiful feeling when a child understands and he is actually helping his parent to feel hopeful. Instead of being woebegone, the parent feels hopeful. So I'll finish this video out here because it is almost 8 minutes. It is quite long. It takes a long time to upload. Nice to be with you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tonight then, good afternoon.